Welcome to a special series of Kitchen Chat, a taste of luxury, history, and hospitality. This is your host, Margaret McSweeney, and I'm so glad you are joining me on this delicious journey. Today, let's travel to the secluded Mendocino coast in Northern California, where we will visit Little River Inn, perched on a hillside with sweeping views of the Pacific Ocean. This family-owned inn has welcomed guests for 5 generations. The legendary James Dean stayed here while filming East of Eden. First, we will meet Cally Coombs-Dym, the great-great-granddaughter of Silas Coombs, who built the original main house on the property in 1863. Cally will share the history and traditions along with the modern-day amenities offered to guests at Little River Inn. Later, we will chat with Executive Chef Mark Dym, a graduate of the esteemed Culinary Institute of America. He will highlight some delicious items on the menu that reflect the local flavors. He will also share the important role that culinary creativity is playing to help restore the kelp forest in the Pacific Ocean. Thanks again for joining me, dear foodie friends. Let's first have a chat with Cally Coombs-Dym.
I'm 5th generation. My son's the 6th generation, so we've been here a long time.
So Cally, can you tell us about your great-great-grandfather who had the vision of settling here, of building this beautiful place that overlooks the Pacific Ocean? You can see that over our shoulders, and how it has become what it is today.
He and his buddy were farmers in Maine, and they heard about what was the second gold rush in California, which was the logging craze. So they heard about that. They chartered a ship to the Isthmus of Panama. There was no canal yet. Across that, and then kind of hitchhike via boat up to San Francisco. Got caught in a riot there, got everything stolen.
No.
But they still knew where they were headed, so they just kept marching up the coast and landed here where they intended to. And they had to learn how to be lumberjacks first, and then they started their own logging business right here down in this cove.
When did this all become a hotel? When was it decided, you know what, we're going to turn this into a beautiful Little River Inn?
My grandfather Oli was from Finland. His family immigrated here, and when he married into the family, married my grandmother, he asked his mother-in-law if he could turn her living room into a bar.
Hold on.
And she was a teetotaler. So. No, I mean, that's our family joke.
Yes,
but
yes.
So they turned it into an inn in 1939. My mother grew up still in the upstairs main building, and so the first rooms were alongside the bar.
Amazing. And on the menu, and I had it this morning, it is fantastic, is Oli's hotcakes.
Oli's hotcakes. His parents ran a boarding house in Utah in a mining town, and his mom made those hotcakes, and we're still making them.
Great. There is a book, I understand, about that.
The book is called The Fin, the Twin, and the Inn. My grandfather was the Fin, my grandmother was a twin, and the Inn, obviously. And those were all the stories that I grew up with. My grandfather was the perfect front man, and he just told these stories all the time. And I always heard the backbone of them, but they changed, you know. But I always knew what story it was. And when my stepdad married into the family, he took one for the team, I guess you could say, and went to cocktail hour every day for weeks, if not months, and wrote down all the stories and captured them in a book.
You can share with the viewers about the cocktail kit that Little River Inn offers guests.
Well, the Bloody Mary that I'm going to show you is actually more of my story. I pickle and ferment basically everything.
Wow.
So, one year we planted carrots more to condition the soil, to break up the soil and aerate it. And so they came up, and I called them ugly carrots because they were all bent and gnarled, but they were perfectly fine to pickle. And so we started making Bloody Marys with those. Amazing. And that just, when we started doing cocktail kits, it just grew into those.
I love that. And what are some other highlights of the cocktail kits?
Most of them are inspired by my friends from Mendocino Spirits, Crispin and Tamar. They actually will do barrel aged cocktails, so a lot of the work is already done for us. We just do the fancy garnish and stuff.
Yes.
Other ones, I mean, you'll see they put them in these cute little glass flask bottles, and you know, we just get creative around what they've already done.
I love that. So whenever you're a guest here, you can order one of those kits and sip and savor on your deck, beachside, whatever venue of choice here at Little River Inn. Now it goes beyond just being an inn. You have a golf course?
My grandfather did not play golf. It was in the 50s, and he was watching Arnold Palmer on TV. No. And he was like, I think my guests would like to play golf. So he interviewed 3 golf course architects, and by each one was more expensive than the last. And by the 3rd one, he said, "Thank you, sir. You just made me a golf course architect." So he and his buddy with the bulldozer just got out there and made the golf course.
Amazing. And it's on a hillside, correct?
Yeah, it goes out. It's like a traditional links style course.
Yes.
It goes all the way out and all the way back. And when you're coming back through, you get the ocean views while you're teeing off.
Wow.
We're Audubon certified, which means we use reclaimed water. We have nature corridors that protect wildlife.
Yes.
And it makes our golf course not only beautiful, but a little bit tricky to play.
So
You have to hit straight.
And do you play golf?
I can.
Good. Good. And did your grandfather ever learn how to play golf
Nope.
once he built the golf course?
Did not,
Okay.
but my uncle loves golf, so yeah.
That is wonderful. In all seasons, what are some highlights during the colder months that you celebrate here?
Yeah, I mean, we're right on the ocean, so it never gets cold.
Right,
Right. It actually can still be t-shirt weather in January. Yeah, the first festivals are the Mushroom Festival in November.
Right.
And strangely, the mushrooms don't show up in November anymore, so that festival still exists. And all kinds of fun things happen, but we're starting to do a mushroom symposium in December when the mushrooms are actually here, and you can come and go out with a guide. And so you learn how to forage for them and cook them and dye with them. I mean, all kinds of really fun things.
Amazing.
And then January is crab, and which is it's amazingly popular. Dungeness crab, I mean, I think is the best in the world, but I might be partial. And you can go out, we can always go out for, almost all year you can go out for rockfish here. So you can actually go on a charter party boat and fish for rockfish, and then they go around, they pick up the crab traps, and you go home with 10 crabs, 10 rockfish. So that's really fun in the wintertime.
What a great hands-on experience in nature, and to celebrate that.
Yeah.
And what about some bespoke luxury experiences? What are some of the things you put together for guests for that?
For that, well, we have several packages. We kind of put all that together for you, like the romance package. And I think if you were really going to splurge for one of those, you would want to stay in one of our off-property rooms that are on the west side of the highway. They all have private hot tubs.
Wow.
I mean, this is a spectacular ocean view.
It is.
These are just like wide open, amazing ocean views, and jacuzzi tubs, because you need both the hot tub and the jacuzzi, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I have to ask about the beautiful flowers and gardens across the property.
So my grandmother was an avid gardener, so a lot of these, as was her mom, the one that had to give up her living room for a bar. So a lot of the plants actually have stories. There's a rose, for example, outside of the bar that came from the Queen's Garden in England.
Amazing. That. And it was so sweet at the restaurant last night. There was a couple celebrating their 50th anniversary, and they specifically chose Little River Inn to stay here and celebrate, and it was just such a treat for them. I loved that.
Yeah, it is not uncommon for us to have several anniversaries all on one night. They'll be like, 1 year newlyweds and 20 years and 50 years. I mean, that's actually very common. And people come every year for either their anniversary, their birthday, whatever it is.
Yes.
It's, people really create their own traditions when they come here.
Little River Inn, the food is the history and the coastal experience. Just being true to who we are and what kind of a location we have here on the Mendocino coast.
So what are some highlights?
I mean, unfortunately, with the change of the environmental situation, we've been challenged a little bit with our ocean. I mean, in the past, king salmon and abalone were a great part of this operation, but we've had to pivot. We're doing a lot of albacore tuna right now. We're doing a sea urchin festival to promote sea urchin, lots of mushrooms. I mean, the North Coast has a big plethora of items that are available for us to use.
Now, sea urchin, how do you prepare a sea urchin?
Purple sea urchin is basically a product that is kind of destroying our kelp fields. So we were trying to put a purple urchin festival together to promote the use of purple urchin. Purple urchin is a lot smaller than the red urchin. Red urchin is another cousin of it. The red urchin generally have larger, it's the gonads of the urchin that you eat. And it's really a delicacy in Japan and a lot of parts of the world. And so we've been doing a sea urchin festival trying to promote the use of urchin and finding a use for the purple urchin, which has added to the die-off and the destruction of the kelp forests that have been out here. So
I love how you're finding creative solutions through food and culinary adventures. So how would you spice or present or prepare?
Urchin is great in pasta. It's great in Japanese dish. We've made sauces with it. We just had the wine song event and we did a ahi poke and we used a sea urchin mayonnaise with it. I mean, it kind of has a little bit of a bitter, briny flavor. It makes you think of being in a kelp bed and you know, having your hands right in the ocean. It's just really briny and delicious.
So it's an urchin umami.
Yeah, it's definitely an umami flavor. It's definitely, you know, a lot of people are a little squeamish with it, but it's fantastic.
What else is on the menu this season?
We've been doing a lot of rock cod because of our, you know, scarcity of consistency of fish. Right now we're doing a whole fried rock cod, which is kind of a Caribbean take on the fish. So we're taking, you know, local rock cod, you know, 2.5, 3 pound fish, and we're pan frying it completely crispy with the head, the tails, the scales. We're doing it with curry and a chili sauce, and people are loving it. You know, it's just a real straightforward, like getting the whole fish on your plate is pretty fun for people. So do a berry cobbler that has been something that we've served here for a long time. It used to be on a lullaberry cobbler. Now we use a mix of Alala and blackberries because once again, that product we don't have at our disposal the way we used to. It's a little more sour than a blackberry, not quite as sweet. So it's very similar but different if you know what you're tasting. Wintertime is also mushroom season. We've done, I think for the past 15 or 20 years, we've done a beer and mushroom dinner with Russian River Brewing Company. I've had a really lot of experience. I think I'm going on 18 or 20 years of doing beer and mushroom specific dinners, and so I've gotten quite good at pairing mushrooms with different Belgian style sour beers. Yeastiness and some of the bitterness of beer, it really picks up with mushrooms really well. A lot of the Pilsners will work with like a chanterelle, which kind of has an apricot, kind of a almondy flavor to it. So it's, you know, there's a lot of different pairings. You can, a porter goes really well with a bolete mushroom, which is one of our best local mushrooms, and I've done beer with candy cap mushrooms. We actually, with Anderson Valley Brewing Company, we brewed a beer that actually has candy caps in the brew. So over the years, I've had a lot of experience and a lot of fun working with distillers and brewers in creating products for the inn. So we've paired together with Mendocino Distillery, Mendocino Spirits, and right now we have Silas Coombs bourbon, which is a blended bourbon on our menu, which I had the good fortune of working with my good friend Crispin Kane, who is the head distiller there. And we're actually on our second iteration of the Silas Coombs whiskey. So it's an homage to him, and it's kind of a collaboration between a head distiller and a chef, and I'm learning more about whiskey and he's learning more about food pairings and food flavors, and so it's been a really good friendship and one of my cherished things that we've done here. There's a whole lot of history here, and we're not, I'm just a caretaker of the history of this place, and we're trying to make sure that our hospitality and our care that we give our guests and the quality that we give our guests is consistent year in and year out. And it's really important to us to have the return guests and to respect the local produce and the local fishery, and and our local workers as well in the local community. So that's really important to us.
Really, I mean, what I say is people come the first time for the view, and they come back for our staff.
Yes.
I just think that we have the greatest people working with us, and that's what makes this whole experience.
Thank you, Cally, Chef Mark, and the staff at Little River Inn for making my stay so special. For more information about Little River Inn, please visit littleriverinN.com and follow at Little River Inn on Instagram. A special thank you to Chalkboard Communications for this opportunity, and thank you, dear foodie friends. Please visit kitchenchat.info and follow at Kitchen Chat on Instagram, where you will find some inspiration for your next delicious destination. And always remember to take a moment and savor the day.